First open OTA practice in the books. We were there to cover it. Ben Johnson was hot. It was fun to watch. We're going to recap the whole thing for you right now. The CHGO Bears podcast. To the CHGO Bears podcast on another dreary spring day in Chicago as Mark Carman flies in here.
Great to be with you, Adam. Great to really feeling the intro tune today, as it was fun to be out at Hallis Hall today with you and the Bears fans and Bears reporters, and we got a ton to do today, so I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting day at Hallis Hall. Got a lot to get to. We'll break down the whole practice, some of the things that were talked about afterwards. I guess we should get right into it. Greg's out golfing, and so is Steven. And fortunately, we have Katie, who we've replaced Steven with because they didn't invite us golfing. So Katie's here, and she did a great job Monday. She's doing a great job today. And we're ready to go. It's like we don't even miss them.
Listen, some of us take days off and others of us work hard. And day one of OTAs, the effort by Steven and Greg are no, those guys are amazing. They deserve a day off. Happy birthday to Steven, the GOAT. God bless him. I'm sure, I apologize to him that he had to spend his birthday with Greg, but maybe they had a great time.
No, happy birthday to Steven. And happy birthday to Greg, who is celebrating Steven's birthday by also taking the day off. All right. As we like to do after practices and post-practice shows, our best and worst of the day. And I will start with my best, and it was Ben Johnson. Early on in the practice, I noticed this, and then it kind of kept going, and then it kind of kept going, and then that was basically the whole practice. I used the word agitated to Ben after practice when I asked him about it. We'll play that for you here in a little bit. Certainly seemed agitated to me. I loved it. And we're talking about mostly, I thought I would say pre-snap things. And by the way, in no way am I trying to make a big deal out of this. If I am making a big deal out of anything, it's in a good way for how Ben Johnson handled it. It's their second practice. Okay, they had one yesterday. They had one today. It's their first time executing all the stuff they've been meeting about for months. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be guys lined up. There's going to be rookies that do it. There's going to be veterans that do it. And it happened today. That I'm not worried about at all. What I loved was that Ben Johnson wasn't having any of that. I mean, he was, come back here, huddle up. I mean, it was like, in some ways, what you do in a high school practice. Like, get it right, or you come back here and you huddle up and you do it again until you get it right. I absolutely love that part of it, Carm. And it went for everybody. It went for Caleb. It went for the other quarterbacks. Cole Kmet got yelled at one point in time because he was lined up too tight. And then he lined up where he's supposed to be after that. So to me, that was the standard being raised at Hallis Hall, and I hope it continues, Carm.
Look, I've been covering the Bears for at least going out to practice, not quite as long as Hoge, but for a long time. I don't remember ever seeing a coach stop practice like Ben did today, and he screamed and stared down Cole Kmet. I mean, it was, and Cole, as everybody I'm sure knows, is a do-right guy. I don't know if that, I don't think that's, I would guess that moment in time hasn't happened to Cole since maybe back in high school. I don't even know if it happened then. This was, it was, well, maybe it did. I don't know.
He played for Brian Kelly. Kelly yelled at everybody. Brian Kelly yelled at like the guy in the first row of the stands.
I mean, sure. It's possible that it happened.
No, I get your point though. It's a good point.
It was stunning. Like Cole was kind of like, okay, I thought he could sort of hesitate, and then he had to run up to him, and then they get in the huddle, line up, do it again. Then you had a great job, did a great job asking him about it. We'll play that cut obviously coming up here, but I asked Tremaine Edmonds about it, and he got. I forget his exact words. I got to go back through it because we're racing today because we just literally left Hal's Hall in 20 minutes. We're here. Hope everybody appreciates that. Hit the like and subscribe button. Trying to give you just as quickly as we possibly can after these practices. But he's like, dogs like to compete against dogs or something like that Tremaine said. I mean, his face lit up at the intensity. Same thing with Kevin Byard. Hey, how do you compare this year to last year? I asked Byard that. He's like, well, I don't like doing the comparison thing, but you all can see the intensity. And just like you just put on the screen there, Erica, or your chat, Ben is not messing around. Ben is not messing around. He absolutely isn't. So it's a great underlining on your best, Hogue. What's your worst?
My worst. Not my worst. Outside of the awful weather that put us inside, 11 guys I couldn't find out there. I wasn't expecting perfect attendance, but that was a little high for me. Again, I don't want to make a huge deal out of it because we don't know what the reasons are. We really only know the reasons for two of them, and those are the two rookies, and they're both injuries, which is also not a best. But guys who I did not see out there as we do attendance included Kyler Gordon. Not worried about that one. He just signed an extension. Zay Frazier.
Yep.
It's another one of your rookies. Didn't see Elijah Hicks. Didn't see Terrell Smith. Didn't see Ian Wheeler. I don't know if Ian might still be recovering.
That's what I was assuming.
Yeah, because he wasn't a rookie minicamp either. Amen Agbamamiga, Braxton Jones. That one's not surprising. Obviously, he's not expected to be practicing. Ryan Bates. Let's keep going through this. Colson Loveland, that would be another one we didn't know. And 96. Oh, Zach Pickens was another one. And Andrew Billings. And actually, it's 12 because I didn't even put Luther Burden down. Luther Burden was one. Now, this is actually, I'm going to spin positive on this one, Carm. Luther Burden has to do with the head coach again. Luther Burden, not at practice today. That was concerning. Remember, if you go back to rookie minicamp a couple weeks ago, we saw him land awkwardly, and then he was there the next day, but it wasn't really much of a practice. So I don't know if this is that or not, but we did hear from Ben Johnson after practice saying Luther Burden's dealing with the soft tissue injury, so he wasn't out there today. Here's where I'm spinning that positive. Another thing with the head coach. Thank you. Doesn't have to be state secret. Luther Burden's dealing with the soft tissue injury. He wasn't out there today. Like, okay, great. That's like, thank you for answering the question. And it's just because sometimes in the past, it's like, nope, not going to address anybody who's missing anything, and they don't address it. And he had on addressed the Caleb Williams thing without even being asked about that too, which we're going to talk about in the next segment. So those were another two positives I took from today with the head coach. But Carm, how about your best and worst?
All right. I took a lot of notes here, Hogue, which I'm excited to get into. We're going to do a special edition of Carm Notes at some point in the show. My best of the day, I actually, and this is, just a handful of moments in practice, but I really thought that DeAndre Swift looked phenomenal. There was this burst from the running back that, maybe I just haven't seen him in a minute, but he was flying through there, and just, getting behind the defense. They're not wearing pads and all these things, but I was like, whoa, DeAndre Swift. Just the whole concept that they didn't go out and draft a running back. They haven't signed a free agent yet. Ben knows this dude. DeAndre, I think, is coming in, I would assume, extra motivated. I think they're going to lean on the running attack, I think, big time this year with everything going on up front. I just thought there was a certain burst there. And watching Eric Bieniemy with the running backs in general today, he's going to be hard to knock off my best on a daily basis. Today, he had 2 soccer balls and he was having the running backs do these stutter step thing, and then he would put the ball one way, you had to shuffle over to get it, and then shuffle and get the second one and throw it back to him. He's screaming at these dudes. He has huge standards on how exactly to do the drill, and when you do it right, he gives you your flowers. You get your props. So all of that to me, just the running back room today, just watching Swift on the field and watching Bieniemy coach him up, that was my best. My worst today was the starting quarterback. Caleb Williams, I was hoping that the Ben Johnson impact would be immediate. The impact is not immediate. He's throwing off his back foot. He's running out of bounds. He's doing weird sidearm throws to no one. He's overshooting receivers. He's doing it while they're doing live drills. He's doing it while they're just doing random just throwing drills. It was not a good day for 18. So look, he's going to be the Bears quarterback. There's no doubt about that, but there's also no doubt that I'm sure that Ben Johnson is seeing that there is a long way to go for him to be successful. And I don't know, I just thought the Ben Johnson impact would be immediate. It is not immediate. There's a lot of work to do there.
Yeah. Katie, can you mark that question from Justin? I want to get back to that later in the show. I just saw it and I don't want to lose it, from Justin Baker about Declan Doyle. We can bring that back maybe along with our super chats later. But okay, I'm not going to be that hard on Caleb. First of all, my standards for Caleb Williams were I said this on yesterday's show. What I was looking is I don't want to see balls hit the ground on 7-7. The good news is the only ball I saw hit the ground on 7-7, there was a PI called on that play. Looked like some holding. A couple guys got tripped up. Otherwise, no balls on the ground in 7-7. So that's a good thing. It did. I found it interesting that what appeared to maybe be his best throw of the entire day, when he hit DJ Moore deep down that left sideline, it was probably more like a deep out. Ben Johnson, Caleb came back towards where the coaches were. Ben Johnson was like, "You can't do that." So I don't know what wasn't right there, but again, it gets back to the accountability thing. I like that, like, even in what appeared to be a great moment, Ben Johnson was still getting after him. So I think that of all the stuff that matters, as we're talking about this on May 21st, I just think it's that setting that standard, setting that level of accountability. Again, these are the first 2 days that these players have been out on the practice field with Ben Johnson. And they're feeling it right now. So with this video, I'm not sure you can entirely hear my question in this, so I'll just say it here too before we play the answer. But essentially was like, Ben, we're getting to know you out there on the practice field. We've seen is rookie minicamp, and then today was the first real practice. Basically, it's normal for you to be that agitated. So here's that exchange with Ben Johnson. The amount of agitation you saw today, is that typical Ben Johnson, or is that just early growing pains? What's going on?
You saw agitation today? Yeah. No, I thought that was normal. So I'll work to get my body language under control. I'm talking about that with the players, so I need to do a better job myself. I'm on it.
I don't want him on it. Keep it. I loved it. Look, there were the two hottest people. I should stop saying hot. The two most agitated people on inside the Walter Payton Center today. Carm, can you guess the other one besides the head coach?
You're not saying it's Eric Bieniemy, because that would be an easy layup.
It's not a Bear. There's your hint.
Not a Bear. No, who was the other one?
It was me when they made us move when we couldn't see practice for about 5 minutes, and then I whined enough that they put us downstairs at least so we could see. Thank you, Bears, for letting us do that, because usually we're not down. There's a balcony, and there was season ticket holders up there, and shout out to the season ticket holders. You guys are lovely and important, but if there's anything I care about, it's watching practice, and we got moved over and I couldn't see. And I was full Ben Johnson in that moment, and I needed to work on my own body language. I'm looking at myself in there too, but the rest of practice we were able to see. Thank you.
Wait, hold on a second, because what happened was there was some special people that came in, so we got booted onto. We're on two sides of like a barrier or whatever you want to call it, pole structure. They moved us all onto one side so no one can see, and then all of a sudden they let us go downstairs so we could watch. Did you actually ask to get that done? Was that you?
It was so much of a. This is why I'm saying I need to work on my body language. It wasn't so much of an ask as much of a very
You just glared at Bears PR. They were like, "Fine, let's go downstairs." Is that what happened?
No, I was just like, this is ridiculous that we can't see practice when we come here to watch practice. Is practice open or is it not open?
That's amazing. And by the way, just a behind the scenes thing. We're downstairs, so literally the pathway to the field is through the media now because Hoge apparently stared down Bears PR and
That's not what happened.
And they hooked us up. But then the special teams came in along with some coaches midway through practice. I don't know where they were, but they were doing something elsewhere. And so we had to get out of the way to let the special teams in, and everybody moved. And then Hoge got back in his position quicker than everybody else, and you blocked one of the coaches that couldn't get back in. You were in the coach's way. You stalled practice, which I thought
you got to hit the gap harder, Carm.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say. When the gap's
gonna...
open, gap's closed. You got to get through the gap.
You're right. I mean, you closed the gap. You made coaches wait to get back on the field. I was gonna make that one of my best, but it was a serious day today, so I didn't mention it. But there it is. Congratulations.
By the way, if we're being completely accurate, it's probably me pouting more than anything. So I'll call myself out for that.
You pouted.
Yeah, I pouted, and it worked. So
standard media pout. It goes on all the time.
It happens. Thank you. In all seriousness, thank you to Bears PR for making that whole situation work, because I know it wasn't really on them. So we were able to watch the rest of practice. That's what matters. And what we saw was Ben Johnson. And getting back to what we just played there, that what was important, like, I don't want him to change that. Like, I want to be very clear. Like, I didn't see wasn't really a body language problem as much as just like, I thought it was extremely notable. I think we all did, at how, the standard he was holding these guys to. Keep that up. They need that.
He scared the shit out of me when he yelled at Komet. Honestly, it scared me. It did. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I put myself into Komet's shoes. It's like, it was terrifying. There was a firmness there that was new. And look, to your moment, by the way, and I know we got to get to our first acknowledgement of the people that make all this possible, but that was an actual human moment. He smiled. He looked at you. Was I agitated? Thank you. Normalcy. A human being is up there talking to you, not a robot. I know that these guys are coached to be robots, and that's what the NFL wants, and that's what organizations want. But that was actually a real human being having a real interaction, and I hope that lasts because it's super refreshing.
Again, this is all early. We're definitely still in the honeymoon phase, but
we are. October 6th, he's gonna hate you. but for now, he smiled and it was beautiful. Maybe I'll love you forever, Hoge. Who knows?
We'll see. I don't know. I lost my train of thought there, but what I do like is that he seems to have this switch. He seems to be able to turn the switch on and off, like when it's practice, when it's not practice, and because I was really intrigued how he's going to come into that press conference day after that practice. So anyway, we will take a quick time out here, and we got a lot more on the Caleb side of things and that whole saga, which we knew would come up today and did. So that is coming up next. We'll also talk more about his actual practice, as Carm had some pretty strong thoughts on that there in the first segment that I know people want to hear more about. But first, summer will maybe, just maybe, possibly, if we pray for it, be here before you know it. And the question is your home's air conditioning up for the challenge? Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. You know that. It's time. Right now is that time to get your air conditioning checked out, because when it gets hot, you don't want to be stuck, and Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. I went through this a couple years ago. Like, got hot, all of a sudden the AC, it's like, oh no, that has to be replaced. So you want to make sure it's being done by somebody who knows what they're doing. And also, they'll come out and help you and not charge you more if it's the weekends, it's or a holiday. We got Memorial Day coming up. That's not what Four Seasons does. They don't charge you more. And last year was officially Chicago's hottest year on record. The heat index even reached 114 degrees last summer at O'Hare. When it's hot and humid, you want to know that your home will be cool and comfortable. So schedule your Four Seasons AC tune-up today. You'll save $50 and enjoy a 1-year no breakdown guarantee. You got to love a guarantee like that. $50, enjoy that 1-year no breakdown guarantee. So do this. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
And shout out to our friends at Factor, ready to optimize your nutrition this year. Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. These are dietitian approved. They're ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. You can fuel right, feel great, no matter what life is throwing at you. We know it gets complicated out there with work and family and everything else you got going on out there. Factor arrives fresh, fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. You can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with the Factor Keto Meals. That's based on a randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto, with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu. Easy to pick meals tailored to your goal. Calorie smart, protein plus, keto. They've got it all. Wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, more add-ons, all the good stuff. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use that code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. The code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast. 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
All right, so just to set this part of the conversation up, Caleb Williams, of course, came out last Thursday. The Seth Wickersham book that's coming out in September. By the way, Wickersham made some news today. We're going to bring up in the D block later. Didn't have to do with the Bears, had to do with the Tush Push.
He did.
So yeah, so we will we'll bring up that later in the show. But Ben Johnson addressed Caleb Williams in that situation today because Caleb Williams did not talk to the media today. I don't really know the ins and outs of why or what, or I don't know. I shouldn't speculate. I don't know if that was Caleb's call or not, but yes,
my behind the scenes work on that was I did not get an answer on whether it was the Bears who decided or whether Caleb who was decided, but perhaps this was just the way it was going to be scheduled is the best read that I got. And so he wasn't scheduled to talk today. The next OTA is next Wednesday. So perhaps maybe we will hear from him next Wednesday. I would bet that we would, but who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. And for the record, Caleb did speak to us at the start of the offseason program. They kind of had, I don't want to call it special availability because I think it made sense, but it was sort of abnormal from past years. And I thought it was great that when the whole team came back together at the beginning of April, he was there. So we have heard from him recently. But regardless, whatever that was, he did not speak today. Ben Johnson.
He should have spoke today. Back to Ben. I think he should have, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that on the back end of this. But regardless, Ben Johnson addressed it head on, starting in his opening statement. And we will play that for you now, along with some of the follow-up questions and answers.
It's come to my attention that the quarterback's been out in the media over the last week. And just to get out in front of that a little bit, I just wanted to say I wasn't here last year, and so I can't speak too much in terms of what it was like before he got here and when he got here last year. But from my 4 months on the job, he's been outstanding to work with, and we just are focusing on getting a little better every day.
And what's your process of building the trust with Caleb and getting his full buy-in under your watch?
Yeah, it starts with developing a rapport and a trust, and that's earned over time. You don't walk in day one and expect that to be achieved. And so the more time we spend together, he understands that I have his best interests at heart, and vice versa. He's going to go out there and play as well as he possibly can, not just for himself or me, but for the whole team and the city. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So we're very much aligned in terms of what we want to get done, and it just takes more time on task in terms of getting on the same page with how we're going to do it.
Are there ways that you watch film with your quarterbacks that might be, does it vary from coach to coach? When you've got these four guys here, are there things that you're teaching them that they need to, see the way that you see it? Is that a part of this part of the time of the year, that part of the process of teaching them? Or?
Yeah, everyone's different. I've been around a number of coordinators, a number of quarterback coaches, and so I would say my style is kind of a combination of everything that I've been around and I've come to learn and love and appreciate. And so there's a process that I believe in, that we believe in as an offensive staff, that we're adhering to this springtime, and we're going to stay true to that. How we're going to develop that position in particular, and those guys are doing a great job working hard right now
What
at
do you
it.
think when you hear it uttered, as in from the article, from the upcoming book, that Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die? Like, from a distance, did you see that, and what do you think when you hear that?
I love it. I love it. I love the opportunity to come on in and change that narrative. That's where great stories are written. And so we're looking to write a new chapter here, 2025 Chicago Bears, and looking forward to the future.
So that was maybe the money quote of the day. I'm assuming you guys can hear that question, but that was Mark Grody asking basically just about the idea of Chicago being where quarterbacks go to die, which was that narrative was introduced by Carl Williams in the Seth Wickersham book that's apparently coming out. That was in that ESPN story, which is why that question was asked and answered. And I don't know, you can come up with a better answer for that if you are the Bears head coach. You're just sort of embracing that, being like, hey, we get to change that narrative.
Well, and look, Ben Johnson had the same decision that Caleb had to make, and Ben made the decision with a ton of freedom. Ben Johnson could have gone to a lot of places in the NFL. This was a sought-after head coach, #1 guy out there, and he chose to come to Chicago. So, to the Caleb specific part of today, I do like the way he handled it. I like that he addressed it, didn't have to be asked about it. And, there is, the Bears are moving forward here. Again, to what before you play the code, to me, it made a lot of sense for Caleb to get out there, speak today, talk about it, put it to bed, move forward. That's it, done and done. But that didn't happen. Ben kind of carried it for him today, and Ben did a good job. End of story.
Yeah, I agree that he did a good job. I also agree. I don't really, surprisingly, I don't have a strong opinion that he needed to talk today. But I just saw the comment from Travis that was on the screen that says end of story. That's the thing. It could have been, but now it's not. Because whenever Caleb talks, which you would think if it's not next week, it'll at least be by the mini camp the following week, then he's going to be asked about it again.
It's not over. It's just not over.
And by the way, it's not going to be over because the book comes out week 1. But at least it could have been asked, answered, dealt with today, and then probably gone away for a while. So,
and let's be clear, it's not a huge deal. It's not. This is not end of the world stuff. He didn't say in the book that he's still not satisfied and he wants to get out here as fast as possible. He just didn't want to blow up the city, nuke the city, I believe is the exact way it was put. But I'm still trying to figure out what he gained doing the interview. Like what was the end game here? Why did you allow Wickersham to Wickersham you? He shouldn't have been Wickershammed. Wickersham does great work. I just don't understand why you wanted to Wickersham. If you're done playing, you could have talked about it. I didn't want to go there. Hated that place. Thought that Matt Eberflus was a complete idiot. Shane Waldron, I watched CHGO Bears, never heard of the podcast, but I saw these guys ask him, what do you think of Shane? And the guy stumbled all over himself. I'm like, well, I don't want to play for that guy. I mean, that would have been great, 15 years from now when he's done and has hopefully had a Hall of Fame career. But he's doing it now in between year 1 and 2. So it's like, I don't get it. But does it really matter? End of the day, certainly not if he starts playing great football.
Well, and that's the thing. He didn't do all that. He could have gone with the nuclear option, and he didn't. So now we're at this point. And that's why I don't think this is the biggest deal in the world, but it is a storyline that I can promise you will be talked about for a very, very long time, regardless of if things go well or not. Because if they go well, it'll be, oh, he overcame those fears and they made it work out. And Ben Johnson's going to be a hero in the story too. And if it doesn't, it's all going to come back to the same narratives that Ben Johnson had to address today too, about quarterbacks coming here and not having success. I don't think we need to, unless you have more, I don't think we need to talk about that anymore though. Like,
we don't. I just
Yeah.
pointed the thumb at myself. It was a competitive Ben Johnson press conference today. Hoge got in there. I did not. But my question to him that didn't get in there. What'd you think of Caleb today? That's what I wanted to know. Hey, dude, what are you seeing? So I'll try to do better next Wednesday and just ask him. But he sort of answered it at the start, like, hey, things are great. These guys are competing. There's some good. There's some not good. It's early. So that I think that's what he basically would have said. But I'd love to sort of at least attempt to get some level of pin down on where he thinks the QB is right now.
Yeah, you know what? In your defense, Carm, I think that would actually probably be a better question next week, because after 2 practices, what's he going to say? It's been 2 practices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll have a little bit more context for it, but I'd like to hear that too as well. I have thoughts on how he looked today, though. We're going to talk about that next, including a footwork switcheroo too. So all that is coming up next. But first,
shout out to our friends at Lucy. That's right. You're looking to uptick is the word I'm looking for. Uptick your nicotine routine. Do it with our friends at Lucy. They've got all the different flavors for the gum that you can buy, which tastes oh so good. And yes, it is coming at you at a phenomenal price. Go to lucy.co, lucy.co/CHGO. And then when you get there, put the promo code in CHGO 2025, and you're getting 20% off your first order. Lucy's got a 30-day refund policy. This is the good stuff. So juicy, so flavorful, and you can pick your strength, you can pick your flavor. All the things there to customize your Lucy experience right there for you. Here comes the fine print, though. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Once again, go to lucy.co/CHGO. Use the code CHGO 2025. Get 20% off your first order.
and another product we want you to check out is Mando. Mando whole body deodorant, and that's what makes it unique. You can use it anywhere. It is safe to use anywhere on your body. Those pits, those tough areas, you know what we're talking about.
You do.
It even says here in the fine print, you use it on your belly button. Yeah, I've never found the need to use it on the belly button, but I guess you could if you need to. The feet, definitely, though. Absolutely. And here's what's cool about Mando. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO is being misdiagnosed and mistreated. So they're fixing it. And you can choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport, which is what Carm thinks he is. A Pro Sport.
It's true.
Smell like Carm. Clinically proven to control odor better than a shower and soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man, the odor level, it's like a 5 out of 10. Well, with Mando, the odor level is going to be all the way down to 0. No odor. Absolutely. Mando starter pack, perfect for new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners right here on CHGO, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHGO at shopmando.com. That is SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
Head to toe Mando. Yo.
That's right. All right. Let's talk about Caleb Williams, quarterback.
I got notes. You go first.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think anything looked great today, including the quarterback. I wasn't That's why I set the bar pretty low and just said that I'd like to see completions in 7-on-7 where there's no defense out there. And I think he checked that box today. So it's going to be hard for me to sit here and be hard on Caleb Williams. I got, a completion to Roma Dunze on a crosser, check down to Olamide Zacchaeus. He then hit Zacchaeus again. One guy who I thought looked good today was Devin Duvernay, actually, kind of surprisingly.
I like Duvernay 12. Looked nice.
Yeah, he hit DJ Moore twice deep, which was good. Now this was all in 7-on-7. So I know some people in the comments earlier were like, we were watching two different practices. I'm talking about 7-on-7. I think that coach was rightfully nitpicking even during some of those 7-on-7 reps, which was good. Again, going back to high standard. Now when the whole team was out there, yeah, it was a little bit more of a struggle. I will say this. Just going off of body language and some of the pre-snap stuff, I do think Tyson Bagent looked a little bit more comfortable, like kind of operating everything. But also I'm not necessarily surprised about that two practices in. So I'm not going to make any grand conclusions off of one practice. So yeah, I'll check back with me in a little bit, but I thought that was just my synopsis of Caleb's day, but you got a lot of notes. Let's hear it.
And somehow I left my roster sheet in my backpack that's not in front of me. So you can help me out with numbers here, perhaps.
This is why you laminate it.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Terrible job. Let's see here.
Which mine's not laminated today. We'll work on that.
Caleb passed to 80, incomplete on a 5-yard out. Caleb incomplete to 82. Caleb complete to DJ. Bullet throw was a little bit late. Caleb to Duvernay that you just mentioned, solid. Then I wrote it down, by the way, we're doing all things quarterback right now. Case Keenum was the backup. Apparently we're competing for backups roles here, which it's fine. Ben will figure it out. No problem. Ran out of bounds. This is what we saw.
Wait, time out. We got back up on that.
What's that?
Did I miss that? No, I saw Beijing getting the second team reps.
Nope. First up with the twos was Keenum.
Every time?
Not every time. They rotated. It's flipping back and forth.
Okay.
It's flipping back and forth. But the first time they went to the twos in an actual, when they were competing against each other, Keenum had the first reps at the twos. And that's when I lost my mind. But then I calmed down, and then they flipped it, alternated.
Okay, I'll be shocked if Tyson Bagent's not the backup. I'll just say that.
I will be shocked too. Let's see. Then back-to-back sacks, holding the ball way too long. That was after he ran out of, and then so he went back. They went back-to-back sacks. Then they did a run play to DeAndre Swift, which looked sweet. And then the next play, he rolled out and he ran out of bounds. And I'm sitting there like, okay, this is exactly what we saw last year. Overshot Roshan with some skittish footwork, and that's right after that. That's when you were blocking some coaches. Then it was sidearm garbage after getting sacked to no one. Bagent complete to 80. There's a lot of Bagent completions here that I'm just making this about Caleb. Caleb complete to 15. Caleb complete to 13. Back foot throw to Zacchaeus. He's a lot of back foot. It just doesn't look complete to another completion to DJ. Complete to Cole, come out with a double pump. 80. Who's 80, Hoge? You got it in front of you?
Earl Bennett.
It's not Earl Bennett.
No, it's isn't that Miles Boykin?
That might be right. He had a lot of catches.
Yes, it is. Today. It is Miles Boykin.
Yeah. And then again, running out of bounds and no pressure. Then he overshot 13 by 10 feet, whoever that is. And then there was the last one was Caleb to DJ. DJ beat Jalen on the play, and that's when you heard him say you can't do that when he came back to the huddle, which I did not hear. That was Hoge reporting on another level. So there's just a lot of incompletions in there. There's a lot of running out of bounds. There's a lot of holding onto the ball too long. He would have been sacked a lot. It looked very similar to last year.
It was the second practice.
It was the second practice. There's tons of time. Great. He's got a long way to go. By the way, I don't know. They had a practice yesterday. by the way. They practiced yesterday. I'm going to guess it didn't look a whole lot better yesterday because it looked like this today. It's just my guess. I mean, it wasn't their actual first practice. This was the second practice. So, look, they are pot invested. He's going to get every opportunity to be great. I'm just telling you right now, he ain't great. It's not great. And maybe we'll get great. Right now, it ain't great. That's it.
Oh, can I tell you the storyline that I am annoyed by, that I just really, I mean, I probably should care more about it than I actually do. Because this speaks to the endless cycle of things we cover at Hallis Hall. We got the left foot forward now thing going. Like that's
Yep, did it with Justin.
here we go. Now we're switching the footwork. And this was a big thing with Justin Fields, I remember, and everybody made a big deal about it, probably including myself, and it changed nothing. So this is, the thing that's going. So, okay, great. So these guys, they changed the footwork. I actually liked Ben Johnson's answer on this today because he didn't come down like, no, I need my quarterbacks to have their foot this way. Wasn't that Getsy a couple years ago? I think it was. Regardless, he said, I've done it a number of ways in my time in the league, really over the last few years. Kind of gravitated towards that. It's something that I feel pretty strongly about. Okay, actually, he was a little bit stronger about it than I thought. He and I talked about it, the reasons why we want to do it. I think it helps out certainly with the quick game from the gun. Now, that is a real thing. I will give that credence. Is pretty much widely accepted. Shotgun, left foot forward, quicker to get the ball out in the quick game. That is very important. I get it. And then it helps us being a little bit better in the throwing posture for a lot of the other things that we're asking him to do. When we talked about it initially, he was already kind of exploring that himself. So that's good. So it wasn't so much us telling him to do it. It was more mutual. Yeah, let's see what this looks like. And I think he's taken a knack to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big change, man. I mean, I haven't played quarterback in my life, so I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty certain that when you switch your footwork up, unless it just all of a sudden feels natural and it's instant, if it doesn't feel like that, it's going to take a second. So maybe it'll work. We'll see. But it's a big change.
Right, I got some other notes here for you. These are some fun things that I think people will like. Did you notice during individual drills that every defensive position group, they kind of rotated stations? And so every positional group ended up going through what I'll just call the peanut punch drill with Al Harris. So you ended up with like the DB's coaching up even the defensive line at one point on punching the ball out.
I got to be honest, I missed this. This is somehow I think I was staring at quarterbacks and running backs too much.
And Eric Bieniemy.
Eric Bieniemy, yes.
So that was one thing I noticed. Another thing I noticed, and I like this too, because I don't remember seeing this early ever in an off-season program. Early on in practice, you had some of the quarterbacks throwing to your skill position guys, but anybody involved, tight ends and running backs included, in pass protection schemes or like trying to identify fronts, was down in the end zone. And they actually had some players and some coaches wearing the scout team pennies already, simulating some fronts. So they're already working on those pass protection rules and all that stuff with actual scout looks, which I'm sure it's basic stuff. I'm sure they're not like breaking down the Minnesota Vikings, although maybe they should, because that's one of the hardest and most exotic, front situations that you're going to deal with all season. So I liked seeing that too in practice. The other thing was, and shout out to Brad Biggs, who actually asked this question too. I don't know. I didn't know if it would actually come up today, but I did notice it during practice. Daniel Hardy was working at linebacker.
That makes sense. That was a good question by Biggs. I honestly didn't notice that, but as far as the profile, that dude absolutely could be a linebacker. And the Bears they're thin. They need somebody, unless Ruben Hippolyte's going to grab the bull by the horns. I'll say this though, Noah Sewell, I don't know if you noticed this, Hogue. Dude's ripped. I think there's an extra 5 pounds of muscle that he's put on his frame. It was the guy's definitely been spending a lot of time in the weight room.
Yeah, I noticed that too. So Daniel Hardy, let's just try to look at a comparison. So Daniel Hardy, 6'3", 240. Let's look at some of the other linebackers here. How about Noah Sewell, since you brought him up? Noah Sewell, 6'2", 246.
I'm going to guess he's up to 252, bare minimum, 252.
Yeah, the point is for Daniel Hardy, like basically playing defensive end. Yeah, he's fitting that profile for somebody who could play linebacker just in terms of the size. And we know that they like him on special teams. So if there's an issue with him fitting in with Dennis Allen, because he doesn't necessarily fit the Dennis Allen prototype for defensive end, but if he's that important on special teams, you got to find a spot for him on the roster. I mean, if there is no spot, they'll just have to say sorry. But if he can play linebacker and help out there too, that would be super interesting. So I thought that was one of the smaller storylines to mention as well.
Side note on Dennis Allen, he walked over by us, and Poles was by us at the time, and they had a little, 2-3 minute conversation, and that just felt a little different to me. Like Poles was fairly intense, I think, watching practice, and Dennis was. There's just a certain level of expertise there that just that conversation felt like we are on another level as far as professionalism in what the Bears are doing right now with their coaching staff. I don't know if anybody else had that thought, but that's what I'm looking at it, just like, oh, well, this is a general manager talking to a seasoned dude, and it just feels like there's a better control of what should be going on the field.
Well, actually, that's a great point. And I teased earlier about how I wanted to bring back that question about what Declan Doyle was doing today. So I noticed these are small things like I just noticed over the years. So Dennis Allen, and I guess it kind of makes sense because he's been the head coach in the past. A lot of times you'll see defensive coordinator on the defensive side of the field during team. He was over by Ben Johnson. And Declan Doyle was over there too. You saw all three coordinators, and Justin was asking what was the OC doing. I got to know what his job is. I took note today, Justin. Declan Doyle was more vocal and kind of more in, let's just say, in charge than I kind of expected. Like he was barking things out and definitely very involved back there. And just the fact that you had Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, and let's be honest, part of Dennis Allen's role here and why he was hired, on top of the fact he's a very qualified defensive coordinator who should be able to keep that side of the ball going, is because his experience as a head coach should help a first-time head coach. So I noticed that too. Ryan Poles checking in with Dennis at one point today, and just him being around, and you can just, I don't know what to say, this like sort of a presence and an aura that is you just tell is respected out there on the practice field the entire time.
That's exactly what it is. I'm not talking to some guy who hasn't been there or done that. Like it's rising tide lifts all boats, something along those lines. That's sort of what it feels like right now.
Oh no, now you're quoting John Fox.
That's troubling, but it applies. I gotta tell you too, just thinking about it, Ben is very comfortable to being himself. I mean, you've been here for all of 5 seconds and you're screaming at players and you're joking around with the media. This dude is not tiptoeing through the tulips here, as he begins his career as a head coach in the NFL. He is absolutely being himself. And then he's telling us in the clip that you played that, hey, I got to work on my body language and whatnot. Yeah. Well, it sounds to me like you don't need to work on anything. You're just being yourself, dude, and you're owning the spot, and that's great, and that's what the Bears need. So
now you're quoting Matt Nagy, be you. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't quite do the Nagy, but it was around there.
I feel you on that, and I think, well, and someone else had that comment earlier in the show. Like, remember we were questioning Ben Johnson's ability to command a room? Like, that part has been totally asked and answered.
Yeah.
Because that was a concern. We didn't really know. But we heard from people that were like, nah, that really shouldn't be an issue. That never should have been a question with what we've found out since. And I think that is one of the things that will transcend the honeymoon period, because like he's commanding the room just fine. He's answering things head on. This Caleb Williams, let's just call it drama, like handling it perfectly, in my opinion, including what he said on Colin Cowherd when he did that interview the same day the story came out. So that part I think has to give you a lot of confidence. Couple other notes I had, Carm. Karan Amagaji was getting first team reps at left tackle. We talked about, I kind of expected that. Braxton Jones still being out. What I thought was notable, though, was I had veteran Josh Miles getting the second team reps over Ozzy Trapillo. Now, caveat, that might have been a rotation. If I missed it, I'm not sure. But when I looked and made note of it, Josh Miles was the second team left tackle, and Ozzy Trapillo. Again, not terribly surprising. You're a rookie. You got to earn it. But that's what the left tackle situation looked like.
Well, Joe Tooney talked today. And, hey, what do you think about Ozzy Trapillo? Oh, he's a really nice guy. Super nice guy. I was like, anything else?
Well, he's nice a Johns. He's a Johns. Of course he's a nice guy.
He's a really nice guy. And then they asked him, well, what do you think about Karan Abagaji? He's real smart. Super smart. He went to Yale. And I was sitting there like, can either of them play? Like,
why did you ask that follow-up?
Well, you're Joe Tooney. I got to be honest. I think I've gotten to the bottom of my Tooney with you, because you are such a Tooney guy that it's adorable. But he doesn't say anything. He's terrified to say anything wrong. So I'm like, how's this guy a vocal leader? He's not. He's
because what they say to the media doesn't really matter.
I got it, but that personality, he is. Whatever. The guy's had a phenomenal career. He's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. I get all of it, but it's a little. I don't think he's going to be Johnny Vocal in that room, but maybe he just turns into a completely different guy. People were asking me, how did Trapillo look? How did Karan look? I have no idea. Do you know? It was they're not wearing pads. It's hard to tell. I mean, I don't know the answer.
No, I that's why I said on yesterday's show, in terms of things I was looking for, it has more to do with rotations, how they're being deployed, and some of the movement stuff, which, just being completely honest with you, was hard to see today. But they're not wearing pads, and that's ultimately what matters, how they hold up with the pads. I thought Ozzy in rookie minicamp looked more fluid than maybe I anticipated, so that was a good sign. I honestly did not get great eyes on 75 today.
Ozzy looked good in rookie minicamp to me. I thought he
should.
Yeah, well, sure. I get it. He's a fairly high draft pick in its rookie minicamp, but so there's, I guess remotely some reasons for optimism that he could, if called upon, could step in and do this. But I would not anticipate that Ozzy Trapillo is winning that spot. That would be just my guess.
Yep. All right. Let's get to. You want to do super chats or some of the things that are left over, like the Tush Push stuff?
Let's do the NFL news. There's a lot of it.
Yeah. Okay. So, in terms of things that were voted on today in Minnesota, we had the onside kick get passed. So that'll put players basically a yard farther forward, which will ideally give the kick team a little bit of a greater chance to recover the onside kick. Again, they now can, the trailing team can do an onside kick as long as they declare it at any point in the game. Last year, that was only the fourth quarter. Carm brought up a great point on yesterday's show, that why does it have to be the trailing team? Why can't both teams declare it? I'm with you on that, but whatever, that's not the rule. So that one got passed. What didn't get passed, actually, it got pulled completely. They didn't even vote on it. And maybe that had something to do with where the Tush Push stuff went today, because that apparently got wild. But the Lions just completely pulled that playoff proposal that we spent so much time talking about yesterday in terms of playoff seeding. So no changes to playoff seeding. If you win your division, you get a home game in the first round. Nothing will change there. And then it came down to the Tush Push, and it sounds like, based on the reporting so far, Carm, there were some fireworks this morning, and we went from, if you were following along this morning, it was actually pretty wild because there was an assumption that the play was going to get banned. And I think that assumption was a correct assumption because if you were following the tea leaves here, this was coming from the league. The league wanted it banned, and usually the league gets what it wants. And after apparently Jeffrey Lurie, the Eagles owner, talked for over an hour. Jason Kelce was in attendance today, and he spoke about how it's a safe play. He was in the middle of it. No problem there. There was some reporting from Seth Wickersham that said that I think it was the Rooneys from Pittsburgh that came out and were like, yeah, Jason Kelce probably swayed some votes in there. And in the end, the final score on the vote was the same final score the Eagles had against the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs, 22-10. The Tush Push lives on. And shout out to the Eagles social media team. They had a great graphic they put out of them running the play against the Packers. Apparently the Packers, though, are like kind of getting sideswiped here because there's also a report that the league basically asked the Packers to be the team that submitted this rule proposal because they don't have an actual owner that has to like eat this.
The whole thing is it's just so short-sighted. There was one tweet out there from Spotrac today. 13 of the 14 NFL teams scheduled to play the Eagles during the 2025 regular season voted to ban the Tush Push. So because you're playing Philly this year and you don't want them to use it against you, you're going to vote to ban it?
Yeah.
No, this is a long-term play for the best of the game. That's not how you vote. That's freaking lame. And apparently there was
Can I address this comment from Guy Finley real quick?
Sure.
He says they don't need to ban it. They need to enforce the rules of where the center is lining up because this was brought up on yesterday's show about how the center is like kind of lining up over the ball to the point that it's, he's getting an unfair advantage. Guy, from what's come out today, I don't think the league's very happy about this. I bet you do see that stuff enforced. There's going to be little subtle things like the referees picking on the Eagles over this. Because I'll give you this too from Seth Wickersham. He filed a story today to ESPN. It's worth reading, but I'll give you this tweet. Towards the end of a speech that lasted close to an hour, Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie made an off-the-cuff analogy that it was, quote, like a wet dream for a teenage boy, end quote, to create a play that was so successful that the only way for it to be stopped was for it to be banned. Later in the meeting, NFL Executive Vice President Troy Vincent chastised him for it. And the story went on to say that, weren't happy because there was other women in the room. The Eagles owners getting yelled at by the NFL in the middle of the meeting.
And he should have been. What kind of analogy is that? What are we on the CHGO Bears podcast? You're some 70-year-old man talking about teenage boys' wet dreams. Get it together, Jeffrey Lurie. Come on, man. That's just weird. That is weird. It is weird. That's freaking weird. What do you guys? I don't know. People in powerful positions, I guess, whatever they feel like they can say whatever the hell they want to say. But and there's some super crime here, but that's just weird. Bottom line,
basically, apparently Lurie's point was that it's a win-win because if it doesn't get banned,
you don't have a wet dream.
Well, take that part out. The point of the analogy, which was a bad analogy, was it's a win because it didn't pass. But if it did and they got banned, then his point is it's also a win because we had such a great play that the only way to stop it was to ban it. So it's like childlike behavior a little bit, honestly.
My highlight on the whole day on the Tush Push was when Ben Johnson got up there and said, "I'm just not a big Tush Push guy." Not a big Tush Push guy. He likes explosive plays. So
that was a little weird too, because if you run it on 4th and goal at the 1, it still counts as a touchdown. But
Yeah, but look, I think I'm overall minorly happy that Tush Push is still here because they're just so good at running it that it's like it's a sight to behold. They're great at the Tush Push. One of the elite things in this world, the Eagles doing the Tush Push. I'm glad they get to keep on doing it. Go
Hey,
ahead,
a
buddy.
reminder before we get to super chats and get out of here, please become a CHGO diehard. AllCHGO.com/diehard is where you go. You get a ton of extra content. I had my instant reaction yesterday to the Joe Tooney extension up there. My Bears roster pyramid is up there right now. Pat Norton, who's doing an outstanding job covering the team right now and is probably still at House Hall writing for you at this moment. He'll have some stuff up. So CSGO diehards, you can scan that QR code on your screen if you're watching on YouTube right now. And as always, you get 20% off all events. If you come to our golf outing, you're going to get $50 off your foursome as well. And as of this morning, I haven't checked in the last few hours, but if you want to play golf with Carm at the golf outing, June 6th, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's still available for you. Village Links of Glen Ellen. We're starting at 8 a.m. Get out there. It's the CHGO Cookout Classic. Really fun event. And Carm, I mean, you want to make your pitch again here?
Yeah, shockingly, it is still available.
Especially because apparently yesterday was our greatest day for adding foursomes, but
Yeah.
no one bought yours.
Nobody bought mine.
We were like, no, but we'll still come. We just won't play with Carm.
Yeah, no. Somebody listen. People have paid for Braggs. They've paid for Hoge, and I'm just hanging out here. And don't worry, my ego is built to handle this. If no one buys it, I'm sure it won't bother me, and I won't lose any sleep over it. Actually, I will. So just if you care about me at all, come golf with me, because at this point I might as well just start begging. Somebody's got to buy it because I want to golf with you, and I'm going to make it I'll put you in my less than considerable will at this point. Somebody's got to come golf with me. I'll whatever you need. Tennis lessons, an extra drink after the round. I'm open. We can hang out and go do all the exercises on the Rate app together. Whatever you need. I promise that my foursome will be the most fun, and it's going to be a day to remember. We're going to have a great time. We'll come out and we'll talk about Caleb and Bajan and everything else. It'll be great.
All right, that's good. I can't wait.
Yeah, this is haunting.
20% off all events, $50 off the foursome, and 20% off all merch all the time. Pat says he's gonna have to buy this on June 5th to play golf with Carm.
You might. I mean, listen, Pizzatola, where are you? Get in here and buy the damn thing and let's golf. I know you want a Pizzatola with me for 4 hours. You can tell me everything I've said bad for the last 2.5 years.
Well, he'll have his list too, even on the golf course.
That dude Tank. Carmonica you can buy it with or without the Carmonica, whatever you want. You want me to play I'll toot the Carmonica every time you hit a birdie or a par or a bogey, whatever you.
Maybe I'll buy it just to keep the Carmonica off the course. Then
you love the Carmonica. You are deep down. You are a Carmonica yourself. You wish you had a harmonica. You had a harmonica Hoge. It's a
harmonica Hoge.
a Hoge Monica.
Mark says he'll buy it if you promise not to sing.
I'm in, Mark. If that's what you want, you buy it. I won't sing. No problem. Let's go. Let's hang out.
All right, let's get to super chats, and we will get out of here. Back tomorrow at noon in our regular scheduled time.
I don't want to talk about the Olympic thing either. We can do that tomorrow because I think it's super interesting.
Yeah, it is. And there were some comments from
Kevin Byer talked about it.
Kevin Byer today talked about it. He's like, no, I don't want to play in the Olympics. I want to hang out with my kids.
He's like, oh, it's amazing to represent your country, be able to do this. Would you want to do it? Yeah, no.
I'd rather be at training camp.
That was a good question by Pat Fay. He's like, you'd rather be at training camp than in LA playing flag football? He's like, I don't want to keep the main thing, and I got kids and But it's actually interesting what the NFL is trying to do here with the Olympics as far as growing the game. We could talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, let's leave that for tomorrow's show. Katie, we can go in whatever order you want to throw these up on the screen as we get through our super chats to end the show. Bill O, $20. Is Sweat looking healthy in this division? We will need a pass rush. Carm, you had Montez Sweat on your list.
Yeah, I took some video watching him. It's hard to tell, but look, there was one interesting note that came out of the Grady Jarrett press conference is that Jervon Dexter Sr. called up Grady and was like, "Hey, we're working out down in Miami. Me being Jervon, Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, Grady, you want to come down and work out with us?" And Grady really appreciated that invite. And just to be able to bond with the guys before they got to OTAs and all. So that to me signals that he's feeling pretty damn good, because if you would be working out in Miami if you're hurt. So as far as I can tell, it feels like Montez Sweat is healthy and hopefully on the verge of having his best season as a Bear.
Our next super chat, Bragg's in the stands, $5. Steven, Sam, Larry, and I hope you had a really nice day.
Thank you, Gregory. It's very nice of you. We miss you. Kind of.
Happy birthday, Steven.
Yeah, happy birthday, Steven. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, Braggs. I got something special for you.
Happy birthday, Steven. I hope you're not watching the show.
He's about to cut a clip. I know it. Can't stay away. Loves it so.
10 pounds sterling. You're supposed to be a generational talent coming out of the draft. If you're Caleb, you'd be questioning whether the Bears were right for you. Off the field, Caleb didn't miss a beat last year.
If he didn't miss a beat off the field, but everything else you say here, Chris, I completely agree with. Listen,
yeah, I mean,
I would have, if he had come to me, I would have been like, nuke it, go somewhere else. It's a bad idea. Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron, terrible thought. Listen to your dad. Get the hell out of here. But he didn't call me.
You would have been the nuclear option.
I would have nuked the Bears, which would have been bad for us. So I probably would have lied to him because he's good for the show. But
yeah, you just processed all that in your head. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Chevy. $20. You can't tell me some shy media isn't going to drag the Vikings story out for clicks at the expense of the team. I understand you have to cover it, but it just keeps proving Caleb Williams' dad right. Chicago is toxic for quarterbacks, media included.
No, Chevy. Come on, man. It's got nothing to do with the media. They don't know how to develop quarterbacks. Don't put it on Brad Biggs, Dan Wiederer, and Mark Potash, who was hysterical on my tweet today. Did you see that?
No, what?
So I did my top 3 takeaways, and I was like, Caleb was bad. Case Keenum's competing to be the number 2, and Ben Johnson screaming at everyone who were my top 3. And his thing was like, I'd hate to see your bottom 3.
I love Potsy.
It's a good line.
Potsy came after me too for your the video you put out of the Papa Shot.
What'd he say?
Well, he was wrong too, for the record. Well, he said, how many takes did this?
Oh, yeah, right.
Take? Yeah. That was one take.
Yeah. I hate to see your bottom 3.
Yeah.
Bottom 3. Well, no. The top 3 are, it's informative. Might be informative.
Chevy, we appreciate you. And I'm going to once again reiterate a point that I think the concept of journalism should be taught in every high school in America at some point.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like, I'm being serious about that. Like, everybody should have to take a journalism class.
I went to Iowa to be a journalism major, Hoge. I just didn't make it through the first class. It just didn't work out for me.
You and I are in the same place right now.
I mean, that class was beyond boring. Is there anything more interesting on this campus? I'm out.
You've never made me feel worse about the degree I got.
Hey, no, listen, you're going to have something to fall back on, and I'm going to go become a greeter.
No, I'm not. I'm doing that.
Yes, but whatever. You get the point.
I am the $1 $5 critiquing Caleb on slow releases and holds on day one field work while working a new offensive system is crazy work. By the way,
Listen, I am the one. We said 1,000 times it's May 21st. It's not September 1st. I get it, but we do have a job to react to what is today and saying, well, there's a lot of time between now and training camp, so we'll just leave it at that. No, we're not going to do that. This is, come on, let's live in the moment. Everything's good. He can be great by week 1. Don't worry about it. Choose to believe whatever you want to believe. Today wasn't great. Period. End of story.
Next. Chevy again, $20. The Caleb Vikings story broke, but he's not Eli. He came to Chicago. He did the work. It still gets dragged. He's skipping media now. Maybe it's because of this. Media talks culture change, but maybe they're part of the problem. By the way, Chevy, I don't think he's skipping media.
And I don't think he gets dragged. Who's dragging Caleb? There's no dragging going on right now. I mean, for quarterbacks in this town that got dragged, come on. I think most people believe in Caleb. Most people say that Caleb had a very solid rookie year. Most people think that Caleb's going to absolutely be great. I'm kind of more out on a limb here, just pointing stuff out. I wouldn't call him getting dragged at all, from my perspective. Chevy.
Great. What's next? I was wondering if this was coming next. Don Burr, $5. How many wins do you believe losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn will cost us? I'm thinking at least 4. I hate to admit it, but the Bears are legit. I have a theory. This is either an epiphany by Don Burr or somebody's pretending to be Don Burr.
This is not Don Burr.
This can't be Don Burr.
Don Burr would never do this. I think it's like 8 games, Don Burr, fake Don Burr. Lions are dead. Your team sucks. Jared Goff's going to go back to being a 3,000-yard passer, whenever the hell that was 10 years ago. Lions are dead. I don't know why everybody in the world has made him the favorite in the division. Somebody's got that wrong.
I think it's naive to think that losing those 2 guys, though, isn't going to cost them some wins.
Well, what did Detroit win last year? 14 games? How many games was it? 13? Their over-under went
2, right?
15-2. Their over-under went down 15-2. That's right. Their over-under went down to 4.5 to 10.5. I mean, it was a significant drop because they lost him. So
okay, yeah, I didn't realize it was that low. Jesus. Bo Chanton, any observations of Trapillo at left tackle? We kind of addressed that earlier.
Yeah.
Bo Chanton. Chubbs 82, $2. Bears PR needs to be yelled at. Bear down, Adam.
Nah, they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I actually want to address that, like in all seriousness, because like the elephant in the room is that there has been kind of this thing with Bears PR over the years, and questionable decisions being made. I actually think that they're doing a really good job, like with a lot of the things that they've done this year. We talked about it a few weeks ago when they gave us the opportunity to sit down with the coaching staff, and all that. So there's more tongue-in-cheek talking earlier about. I mean, if we are being invited to practice, we should be able to see practice. But they fixed it. We were able to see the rest of practice, and I was pouting.
I love Bears PR. They hooked me up with Kyle Monungai. Get to talk to the rookie running back. I'm sending flowers all day long. They have a tough job, man. That gig is not easy. You got a million balls in the air, so I appreciate what they do.
Chevy Wellington, $5. Not all media. Boy, he's not giving up. Brad was great on the subject, but to say all the media isn't dragging for clicks is insane. Put that knee thing over Greg's face. Then another $5. Dragging or not, it's a distraction. So yes, the media is contributing at this point in time.
Okay, Chevy.
First of all, do not confuse the talking heads nationally talking about this with the local media who have to ask questions about it.
Chevy, listen to me. They're pros. And a lot of them today, hey, Tremaine Edmonds, what did you think about the Caleb thing? I don't know, man. Didn't really pay too much attention to it. And by the way, I believe him. These guys are making zillions of dollars, living their lives, trying to keep themselves as healthy as possible to go out on the field and perform so they can do it as long as possible. They're not worried about, whether Caleb didn't want to be a Bear. Irrelevant. Is he good at football? Can he help us win? Can he make me more money and help me enjoy my life? Period. End of story. A lot of flowers being thrown Caleb's way today, by the way, by his teammates.
Yeah, 100%. All right, what else we got? Crystal. Always a good way to end. $10. We should not be reading Don Burr Supers. Just take the money. Great coverage, guys. Thank you as always. Love you guys. Bear down.
Apparently, Crystal was red hot in the chat today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like, listen, all y'all flirty flirts in the chat. Crystal's not here to be going on any dating exercises during the show. She's just here hanging out talking Bears. But shout out Crystal for being the best Crystal that she can be. And hey, great softball teammate, 2-0. Crystal just bought her own bat, Hoge. She invested in her own piece of lumber to make the team great.
Yep. Well, that's next level. I
It
appreciate
is.
it.
No one else has bought a bat.
All right. Do we have any other supers that are not from Chevy or not people trying to take the shot at Crystal? If not, we're good.
Are people doing super chats to flirt with Crystal?
But we love all of you guys very, very much.
This is a professional show. I'd
Sometimes.
love to do an unprofessional dating show in another iteration of my professional life, but this is not that show.
Someday you're telling that story.
The dating game story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think did we not tell that one? I think we did, but we'll do it again.
You did, but not on the show.
Oh, we didn't do it on the show?
No, I think that was just at the combine and dinner.
I'll have to buy the sweater again and come back and do the whole thing. Sweet sweater.
That's a teaser.
Yeah.
All right, we're back tomorrow at noon. CHGO Bears. We'll have a full show for you. Actually, we're gonna invite Fran Duffy back. Obviously our draft analyst, but we're gonna look a little bit at last couple of draft class that are on the roster and kind of where they all stand going into this season. So that should be super interesting. We'll have a lot more coming your way tomorrow too. Some things left over from today. Should be a lot of fun. Also, I think Carmen and I might just call Steven and Braggs at like 10 a.m. tomorrow and be like, you know what? We're going golfing today.
Yeah. You do something. Figure it out.
Yeah.
We're doing all the heavy lifting around here. I'm kidding, Greg. I know you work 25 hours a day every day, and you deserved this time off. Happy birthday, Steven.
And thanks to Greg for putting photos from Medina in the middle of our work chats 15 minutes for the show. And shout out to Katie for being the one that yelled at him for it again. That's twice. That's 2 shows for Katie, both yelling at Greg. She's doing a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Keep that up. All right, we're back tomorrow at noon. Everybody enjoy their evening. Hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this practice recap show, and we will talk to you tomorrow. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.